What's going on, guys, man? I'm pretty sure everyone can hear me. It's been a good day, man. We're back another week with the Addict Show. Got a special guest, man. Got Fonzarelli. What's going on, Fonz? What have you been playing?
Man, well, we were just talking about Elden Ring. It's funny. I beat the game after 7 days, 44 hours, but I jumped back in because I can't get into another game. I don't want to bring it up again because I keep bringing it up, but there's another game on the PlayStation side I've been trying to get through that I'm having a hard time with, and I can't get back into it, especially after Elden Ring.
So, are you saying that Horizon Forbidden West got Breath of the Wild? Just like the original one did?
Yeah, it got Breath of the Wild did for sure, and I'm also saying that it's not a Game of the Year contender, in my opinion. It's just not. It's just not.
That's going to start a lot of little things.
No, I've gotten a lot of hate for saying that, but I'm sorry. Aloy has the personality of a slug, all right?
A slug. You're giving.
Oh my god!
I feel like we could give her the personality of an inanimate object because she's like a rock. She don't really make any. We're gonna move past that. We're gonna move past that.
Okay, you know the little water stain you might have on your table or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that has more personality than Aloy.
Hey, that's why they be on your ass, man. I ain't saying nothing about Aloy, and I don't want no smoke. As a matter of fact,
terrible protagonist, man. Look, great combat skills, but terrible protagonist when it comes to the dialogue and stuff. I can't feel her. She's not for me, man. Like I try to play the game, and she's kind of borderline annoying, and just it's not that fun to me. The combat's cool, but other than that, the dialogue and stuff is just way too laborious. Like. There is so much dialogue in this game. Man, too much. Sometimes there is too much dialogue in a game, and there is a lot.
I was feeling that. Sorry to I don't care. I'm not apologizing to the chat for me derailing the conversation. It's my podcast. I'll derail if I want to. But I was playing Triangle Strategy for the Nintendo Switch. And there's a lot of dialogue in that too, and I feel like it is borderline too much. And it goes into that thing where it's like, if I'm doing more talking than I'm doing playing the game, we got an issue. Sure, I feel like the rest of the game still cleared that bar to me. But, Triangle Strategy was one of those games that it has a lot going for it, but the stuff it doesn't have going for it really hurts it. So we got a $2 super chat from Flame. More like Horizon Forbidden 90s meta. Am I right, guys?
Am I right? Oh, man, that's good.
Oh, look, man.
You're right.
Look, and then we got a $2 super chat from Drawlin TJ. Hi, guys. What's going on, man? It's all right.
What up, TJ?
What are you doing, Hustle? Well, I see you got the IOP logo on.
Oh, I 1000% do, sir. Product placement, kind sir. Product placement. Yeah. I was doing some stuff, with the setup. I know. I see the RGB lights in the background. My little Mario thing is right there.
It's looking good, man.
Yeah. I want to kind of make this more like home. I'm actually sharing this open space with my pops, so his stuff will go there. And I kind of want to make this as streamer friendly as possible. What I've been playing, we was talking about it before, but I beat Margit, whose name I spell wrong and pronounced wrong. Anyway, I got that old buddy, me and the NPC. I'm the prisoner class, and I don't give a damn what nobody say. I beat him on my own, and I ain't had no help from nobody.
Nice.
Especially the troubleshooters. It's like, no, I actually streamed it Sunday, and I plan on uploading the boss fight that I won. I plan on uploading that, if not tomorrow, the day after. I've just been kind of caught up doing a lot of things, but yeah, I've been having fun. Played Aladdin again, been playing Animaniacs, and I'm starting to play through on Super Mario RPG. What day is it? There's a Wednesday, probably Friday. I will probably start that Friday.
That's what's up. All right, so
yes,
this is what we're gonna do. All right, because I do want a little bit of feedback real quick on the Addict Show stuff that I'm about to start doing. All right, so I am in the process of getting this taken care of when it comes to what the show's gonna look like, how it's gonna look like. Fonz, I sent you a screenshot of on Twitter, so let me bring it up real quick, and I'm gonna show you guys exactly what I got in mind. Now, I'm not showing you all of it because I feel like there's got to be some kind of what's what I'm
Surprise.
looking for. There got to be a little bit of surprise, man. Just a little.
There's got to
bit.
be that element of surprise. You gotta give them just a little, get them excited, and then
All right, so let me.
It's always fun.
Yeah, and it's just like this is one of those things where I don't want to do this twice. So I'm taking my time, dotting all my T's, man, because I ain't looking to do this again. I'm just not.
Addict, while you get that ready, Fonz ready. Tell the great people where they can find you. Every Tuesday night, and tell the people where they can find you.
Oh yeah,
Sundays
Tuesday nights.
Well.
RDX podcast with
right.
Dealer Gaming and the crew on Dealer Gaming's channel. You can find me there every Tuesday night, 5 p.m.
Yeah, what's funny is someone in the chat said today you have a good take. I guess people ain't like some of the takes you be having.
You know what?
Damn.
That's how I am, and I'm an honest person, honest gamer. When it comes down to these games, if I don't like something, I'm going to tell you I don't like it. And I'll tell you why.
And I think people need.
I don't have no problem with that.
People need to stop with this. Everyone has to have the same mentality stuff because I feel like it's too much.
And then of course you can find me Fonzarelli Gaming on my channel here on YouTube, and of course I do my podcast every Sunday. I do Games Talk Live, where I go one-on-one with a guest. Usually, sometimes it's one-on-two, but that's rare. It's usually one-on-one, and I have a good time doing that. So check me out, 2 p.m. Sundays.
So let me go ahead and switch this. All right, so let me switch this transaction. All right, so this is what it's going to look like. All right, so here's the first one, guys. Here's the first one. Now, as you guys can see, I want something a little simplistic, man. A little simplistic. The goal here is just me and Hustle. I'm going to have an ILP crest in the middle. Everything's going to be animated. I'm going to have our Twitter handles at the bottom. That's what this one's going to go with. And I think that's pretty self-explanatory at that point. I don't want anything like... I don't want any attention took away from us talking. Like, I don't want, like, crazy animation avatars in the left or right. Like, it looks cool, but I do think it takes away from the point of the show. But, there is one thing that I really debated on doing, and that was, like, any form of, like, making things different if I have, like, a guest or something. So I went ahead and decided to do the guest thing. Now, what this one is it's pretty much a guest blowout. Now, I want the guest screen to be bigger than us. Like, not much, but I want the focus of the show to be on the guests. Like, because I do plan on doing more, I'm going to PAX next month, so I'm going to try to get as many developer interviews set up as possible. So that's really why I made something like this. And obviously, I got a little bit more set up, but this is pretty much what I'm looking at right now, guys. I promise you, I got some stuff cooking, man. It's going to take a little time because anyone that does art, you guys know the thing. It's very time consuming.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's go ahead. Let's get these super chats real quick. You guys are really showing up today with these super chats. We got a $2 super chat for Lord Metro. Good to see Fawn's back. Yes, Elden Ring is Game of the Year. I won't go out and say it's Game of the Year yet. I won't.
So far, it is for me.
I won't go that far because I got to see. Now I got to see how Harry Potter is, and I got to see how Starfield is. But I will say that, man, they got to fight. Like, they got a serious fight. Like, this is like one of those scenarios where it's like Goku versus Jiren and he's about to go Ultra Instinct. Is Goku going to get that Ultra Instinct before he gets thrown out of the map? Like,
hey, Addict, really quick. You're frozen, my friend.
Oh, I'm frozen. Of course yes. I'm frozen.
You know, it's funny. When I was going into this year to 2022, I already had it in my mind that number one, Starfield would be a Game of the Year contender for sure. Because, I mean, given the pedigree of Bethesda and their single-player RPGs that they bring out, let's be real. I mean, they've already, what was it? Before 76, the past 4 or so games were Game of the Year contenders. They've had 4 Game of the Year award winners, and that's going back to Oblivion, Skyrim, I think Fallout 3, and Fallout 4. All Game of the Year award.
Hold on. Winners. That game comes out 11/11 of this year, right?
Same as Skyrim.
Yeah, no. I'm cool, and I'm cool with the whole legacy, and, doing that whole thing. But I think the developers, I think the people who are on the board, wouldn't they need time to actually like sit down, play, and beat this game? Because wasn't that like a thing with Death Stranding?
Hopefully, with any luck, it won't be like that. Hopefully they'll get plenty of time to actually sit down and play that. Like, I don't know exactly how they're going to do it. Most of the time, you know, these big open RPGs like that, you get weeks ahead of time to play it. It just depends on this game. Seems like the way it's been described to me, this game's pretty much done. They're just making sure it's all about optimization. They want this to shine on the Xbox Series X. And I personally feel like this game was probably set for last year, but Microsoft, since they bought Bethesda, they might have pushed it into this year just to give them, because they don't want Bethesda anywhere in these titles. They don't want none of that.
That's going to be it, man. You can't have a Bethesda game without some bugs. That's going to be there. You might have, you know, an ox on the roof of your house or whatever, an alien on the roof stuck. Crap like that happens. But my whole point of bringing that up is that I already thought, okay, that's Game of the Year contender, and it still is in my mind. However, that's the one I was pushing to probably take it this year until I played Elden Ring. And then I played Elden Ring, and it blew my mind with the world building and stuff. And I'm just like, wow. From Software just put everybody on notice. And it's crazy how good the game is, because now Starfield's going to have to do a lot better to get me to give that the Game of the Year nod. Hogwarts, the thing I have against Hogwarts is, well, I'm kind of biased. I'm not a big Harry Potter fan. The game looks fantastic, but it is a big franchise that they are turning into a video game. And 9 times out of 10, big franchise turns into video games aren't very good. So
I feel like this.
I don't know. We'll see.
I feel like this might be the exception, because it doesn't look like they're trying. Normally, the time when you get these type of games, they're trying to push it out for a movie, like try to cross promotion.
True,
but it doesn't look like that is the cadence here. It looks like this game is standing on its own merits with an original story, original dialogue. We'll have to see how it goes. And people in the chat clouding me for my scene. Look, I'm not saying that this game has a chance of winning Game of the Year. All I'm saying is I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out the quality it is, that it could be a contender for Game of the Year. Here's the thing. Elden Ring's amazing. It is. But at the end of the day, I will say it is the game that made it mainstream, but it's not it's not like it's mainstream, but it's not out there mainstream. It's not like out of video games mainstream. I feel like that's a safe thing to say, because
I disagree at it. I disagree with that, and I'll tell you why. The game that made the Souls genre mainstream, as you put it, that's Bloodborne. I ain't never seen so many people play Bloodborne.
No,
like
this
that
Elden Ring
until it was on PS4.
Elden Ring outsold Bloodborne.
It's going. I know it's going and it's doing well, but I feel like that was like the start of like everything, because like the PS4 did what it did. Bloodborne is kind of revered now.
Here's the thing that I will say. I will get to the super chats here in a minute, guys. When it comes to Elden Ring, it's a fantastic game, but a lot of people are going to be up and down. Because remember, a lot of the people that vote on these games for Game of the Year, they're gamers, but they're not gamers like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if all of them are going to be playing Elden Ring like that. But the thing that Harry Potter has going for is Harry Potter is such a well-known name outside of gaming. So even if it's a solid product, it does exactly what they say it does, they're gonna have that going for them. And keep in mind, I'm sure a lot of people that's going to be streaming, they probably went and watched those Harry Potters. A lot of them probably grew up with the Harry Potter franchise. It's just if they deliver. Now, I'm not saying they can only just deliver. They got to deliver before I would even consider it. It just, to me, right now, it's between Starfield and it's between Harry Potter and Elden Ring. And I'll give it like, Elden Ring's up here, Starfield's like right here right now, and Harry Potter's like right here. Like, and it could fluctuate depending on, like, the reason Elden Ring is so high is because it's a proven product. We have the final product.
Addict, I wouldn't call it Harry Potter, because I got a lot of flack for saying that. Call it Hogwarts Legacy, because people are like, Harry Potter's not in it. Stop talking about Harry. It's like, okay, but it's within the world, whatever. It's Hogwarts Legacy. But again, I still maintain that, somebody brought up Batman and the Arkham games and stuff, and those are the exception when it comes to big franchises doing well in the video game space.
Yeah, I mean, for every one.
I mean, look at Avengers. That was terrible.
For every one comic book game we can give you that was successful, I can give you 4 other that was trash. So it just, when it comes to those, it just depends on who was pushing it, what studio made it, and what was the purpose of making the game. Now, if they were making a game to be a game and not to be a cross promotion with a movie, got a little bit better chance. If you got a studio like Insomniac making it, you got even a better chance of doing something.
Indeed.
I will say that this studio is kind of unproven that's making Hogwarts Legacy, so you don't have to see about that. But Elden Ring is the kind of product that we don't get very often.
It's a phenomenon.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see if Starfield can pull off being two of them in 1 year, because that's unheard of. Even Fallout 4 wasn't like phenomenal to a point.
No. You know what this reminds me of? When I started playing Elden Ring and really getting into it, I was like, man, I'm getting the vibes that I did when I played Skyrim for the first time. So that's kind of the phenomenon we're dealing with here. And matter of fact, it's even outpacing the sales for Skyrim. It's crazy what's going on with Elden Ring.
It's gonna outsell Skyrim. I can almost guarantee that.
Isn't that like, it's at like 10 million, right? Ain't that joint at like, no, it's at like 12 million. I think it's at like 12 million. It's gone.
The reason it's going to outsell Skyrim is because Skyrim back then on the 360, it was before the PS4 mainstream thing where they pushed all the people on Fortnite. It's before the Warzone, the Battle Royale thing in general. I would say gamers probably 4 or 5 times as high as it was back then. We don't get the kind of quality games. I'm willing to say that we don't get the type of quality games that we got in the 360 generation. Like, I would say, it felt
my fault, Dad. My fault. Go ahead.
Let me get these super chats real quick before they start disappearing. We got a $2 super chat from John TJ. You are awesome, Fonz. Great to have you back. Then we got a $5 super chat from Dawn Otaku. There's only 2 types of types of take. My takes and bad takes. Breath of the Wild,
I love that.
The Lord of the Rings trilogy is a 5 out of 10. I don't know about that, fam. We're going to keep going. $2 super chat from Drawn TJ. Addicts Frozen. I appreciate it, man. I fixed it, man. Am I still good? Am I frozen anymore?
You're fine.
We're going to get $5 super chat from Dawn Otaku. Has WB made a game based on a major franchise since Batman Arkham? They are making a couple now. We just have to see how they actually come out. Then we got a $2 super chat from John TJ. I've never played Dark Souls. Love Elden Ring. And I don't want to talk about Elden Ring too long, but we'll go into it a little bit. All right. I think the reason this game is being so more welcoming is because in the older Dark Souls, there were scenarios where it was semi-open, but it wasn't this open. So Dark Souls 1, for the most part, if you got any of the old Dark Souls, maybe Sekiro and Dark Souls 2 to a point, maybe even a little Dark Souls 3, but you got stuck, you could do something else, find something else to do in Elden Ring.
Facts.
In those older games, like for the most part, if you get stuck, you're turning right around and grinding. That's all you can really do. Now, there are some that's, like I said, it's a little open. Some let you go the direction you want to in some form or fashion, but it all leads back to that boss. But on this game, you can go left, you can go right, you can go up, you can go down, you can fight bosses you ain't supposed to. You can get one hit killed by people you ain't supposed to. It lets you, and just the horse exploration itself gives people the illusion that they're not in a Dark Souls game. So
it's more approachable for everybody. And I will go on record as saying, all these people complaining about how it needs an easy mode, I disagree with them completely, only because to me, the open world, and let's face it, the fact that you could summon, different ashes to fight alongside with you, those are the easy modes within the game.
I was about to say that too.
And because, when you could summon yourself a second character that fights just like you, man, he takes all the aggro, and you could just go to the back of the boss and just wail on him.
I just got him. I literally just got that.
It's just so crazy, and you nailed it. That is why, Addict, that this game is such a phenomenon, is because when you come up against, like, say, Margit, the first boss, maybe you get your ass handed to you. You decide, okay, wait a minute, I'm going to go explore, go get tougher, come back, and I'm going to whoop your, what. And you do that. And that's what makes the game so fun, because as you're exploring, you're finding other bosses, other world bosses and such that you can handle. And that is the key part of this game too, where unlike most other Souls games, you only have a certain number of bosses, to fight. This one has so many that you'll come across them that you can handle, that it's like, okay, I just felt good about beating this boss. Maybe I could take on that other boss now, and that it gives you that sense of like, hey, I'm getting stronger, I'm getting better, and I love that feeling in this game.
So let's talk a little bit about Hogwarts Legacy. All right, so clearly, I'm assuming all of us seen the gameplay trailer. Now, when you're looking at this, first off, I want to ask you guys is they were very open. Now, normally in my experience, tell me if I'm bugging or not, but normally in my experience, when people have that GTA 5 type of demonstration where they go very in detail on what you can do, what the point of the game is, I feel like if you're being that transparent, you have a hit. And another reason why I feel like they might have something, obviously they think they have something. Obviously, when we get it, we could think it's trash. But, PlayStation chose to do an entire state of play on this game. They don't do that often. If it's not an exclusive or a second party exclusive, you're not getting an entire 30 minutes dedication on PlayStation's YouTube channel. But they gave that to Hogwarts Legacy. So like that's what I want to ask you guys. Do you guys think that because of the transparency and the confidence they have in this game and the fact that PlayStation is ride and dying for this game, do you think that there's a good chance that what they're showing us is going to be a representation of the actual game?
Alphonse, I'll let you go, but I'm gonna keep it real.
Addict, it's a great point you bring up, because how many times have we seen Sony really do a deep dive like this on a state of play, with a game that was trash? I don't think I've ever seen that. So I definitely think that it's going to be representative of what they showed. Even though I'm not a fan of the, Harry Potter universe or Hogwarts universe, and I don't personally like the pew pew wand sort of mechanics. And
I wish they would have been more I wish they would have been like a little bit more melee builds. I know that people's like, that's not Harry Potter.
Yeah,
this isn't. They could have.
But even my biases aside, I still look at the game and can appreciate. Hey, it looks fantastic. It looks great. It's got a lot going for it. It looks huge. It looks massive. They've got a lot of RPG elements within. It's definitely representative of what we're going to get, and I think a lot of Harry Potter fans are going to love this game.
Man, that joint looked mid. Let me
tell you why.
Because you're a different NPC altogether. I don't know I think you can make your own character. If
yes,
you can,
you
cool. All right, cool. That's cool. But you come in as a 5th-year student, so like you're not even going to. You probably won't see like any of the main characters, or if you might see a sprinkle here and a sprinkle there of some of the ones that you liked and hated. Listen, man, I'm gonna keep it real with you. I cut that joint off halfway through, man.
My God!
I just didn't like it.
So okay, hold on. Let's
agree. I wasn't impressed.
Cool.
Let's break down. Hold on.
That's because of my bias against the whole Harry Potter universe.
All right, man. Let's break down the mind hustle. Let's break down the mind hustle. What's the last thing you remember in this gameplay before you was like, I'm done, I'm out? What was the last thing that was shown? Because I got to know what was shown on that screen. That was the straw that broke the camel's back, and you got up out of there. Like
when you had enough.
And I'm sitting in here, I'm watching it, man. It was Saturday afternoon. I'm sitting in here, I'm watching it. It was something to the effect of, I don't know, a woman was talking, and I said, nah, I'm cool. I'm cool, because I ain't never really been no Harry Potter fan anyway. But a woman, she was talking about something, and I don't know if it was important. I said, nah, I'm out. I said, I'm straight. I just cut the joint off. I wasn't feeling it. I got some of the information to where, like I said, you're a 5th-year student. They show like a tutorial boss fight that you have.
Yeah.
And I guess one of the headmasters, I'm not sure what the hell they call them in that universe. One of the teachers came and broke it up, said, pardon me, says, you're not doing this on my time, do this on your own time and all that. I said, all right. I said, no, I'm good. And Addict knows, like, and the chat knows too. Like, I'm a fan of like 3rd-person stuff. I don't ever like. I prefer third person over first person. Even that couldn't keep me interested, man. Like I'm good.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm third person over first. But however, I got to ask Addict a question about this because it kind of it's odd to me that on one hand you say that this could be a game of the year contender, but then you say the combat could use a little work, that you think that it could have a little bit more melee. I mean, because that's the thing that me and it sounds like Hustle had a problem with too, is the combat doesn't look all that fun to us, but to a Harry Potter fan, I think it would. But
well, to me, I always like up and close personal combat, so that's me being a little biased on that. Now, as far as like how they have you handle certain things, where you can throw fire at people and you can levitate and throw stuff, like it's got a lot of variety in combat. It looks like, but it's just like I get it. In the realm of Harry Potter, there's not a lot of things that go around with, up close combat because they're casting spells and stuff. But
it's pew pew wand.
Yeah, it's just like this is a game that's taken place before the Harry Potter actual franchise. So to me, they could make it lore wise where you have melee spells, maybe a couple, not a lot, that let you get up close. And then they in the lore of Harry Potter at the end of that movie, at the end of that game, they could ban them, and that's the reason they're not in the rest of the. That's probably at the end of the day, that's probably the reason that they're not in there, because to a point, they're going to be strict on what they can do with those type of spells and what they cannot do. So if they start casting spells where they're summoning shields and swords or whatever, obviously I'm not saying to put shields and swords in the game, then the hardcore audience is gonna be like, yo, why was none of that in Harry Potter? Like, so yeah. I get it, but there is a sword that he killed the snake with, the sword of Gryffindor, whatever the hell that thing's called. So I can understand to a point where they were in terms of the lore, but it's just like, put the son of Gryffindors in a like. I feel like if you do nothing but long range weapons, there's not a lot of games that are only good for gunplay. Like the reason I didn't like Horizon is because I don't like bow combat at all. Like, it's one of the most dead things I've ever done in a game. A bow combat. Like, and I get it. It's a variety of combat. It's not just a bow. They got, she's got critical hits that she does on the bosses. It actually makes sense to the world of Horizon. But regardless, I didn't care because I didn't like her as a character, and I didn't like the combat. Now, I think the thing that makes this a little bit different is you're actually going to school and you can learn your arsenal and you can make your person the way you want him to be. So just because there's not like some kind of melee attacks, I'm assuming you're going to be able to go. You could learn the dark arts if you want to, because it seemed like it. Like I said at the beginning, you could control dark arts to a point, like in some way. So I'm assuming you could do that at a point. It said you could learn against the dark arts. Maybe you can actually, maybe it's got multiple branching paths where you could be good, bad, or like neutral, or just have a couple in everything. So there's a lot of there's a lot of opportunity in this game. It's just, regardless what we see, regardless what they tell us, none of that matters if they don't execute it.
Geek, it's funny, Geek in the chat, he said, y'all don't know nothing about Harry Potter. You know what? I'll admit, I don't. The only extent I have to any type of lore with Harry Potter at all is 2 movies I've watched and I was bored to tears on. I just didn't like the Harry Potter stuff. So, I don't know much about the world of Harry Potter. I do know they use wands and stuff, so I get it for this game. But for me, that it doesn't interest me to play the game. However, again, I will maintain it looks really good for what it is. It's well polished. It looks awesome, the graphics. And for a Harry Potter fan, I'm sure it's amazing to you guys. So,
yeah, it's just like, I hope it's good, man. I'm really feeling what I see. It's just I got to see the end goal. I got to see how big this world is. It seemed like it's a massive world. You can go to multiple different places, but I got to see exactly how it's done. And I don't think there's too much to talk about when it comes to Hogwarts Legacy. We'll have to, we'll probably talk more about this when we get more information. Yeah. But the amount of information they gave us, I really doubt we're going to get something like that again. We're probably just going to see the game. We might get
I don't think any one of us here, even Hustle, none of us wish ill will on this game. We we always want to see games succeed. So regardless of our biases or whatnot, we want to see the game do well. And I'm all for it being a Game of the Year contender. The more the better, man. Hell, I love to see great games being released.
Yeah, I mean, I'm buying it day one because it looks interesting, but I'm not saying that they need assault rifles. I'm not saying they need swords. Like, what's
I'm
crazy
saying they
is,
do, but that's just me. You know,
what's crazy.
I'll take an RPG in it. Yeah.
Imagine if you
just blasting.
You make an RPG and you shoot. You know that's gonna be done on PC. They're gonna do something in there to
some crazy stuff, bro.
So let's go ahead and move on a little bit, man. PlayStation has announced they bought another studio. It's Jade Studio. What's that studio actually called?
Haven.
Haven.
Studios.
So PlayStation announced that Jade Raymond Studio Haven, they acquired that. Keep in mind, Hustle, have they made one game?
No, they haven't. But
there's no but to. Fawn said they made one game.
Wait a minute.
No, they have not.
Wait a minute. Hold on. God damn it, both of y'all hold on. Wait a minute. Now, I believe it was Herman Holst in the interview that I read said he was extremely impressed with what he saw. And look, I think he jumped. Right, that's cool. I think he jumped on the gun a little bit, but you got to understand, Team Green putting the pressure on that boy over there, man. You got to understand what just happened. Yo, Microsoft pretty much just bought Activision, and before we get back to what we was talking about, the shareholders want to vote in favor if this deal doesn't go through over there at Activision. So they want the deal for Microsoft to happen. And I need to throw that little nugget out there.
No, you're right. You're 100% right.
That boy out there, Herman, he's fighting for his life right now, man. Something got to change, baby. He fighting. Let him look. I applaud his effort, and I hope whatever type of financial backing that PlayStation will give Miss J in her actual studio, I hope it works out well in their favor. I hope they have the next Last of Us on their hand. Last of Us Part 1, not Part 2 so much. But I hope they got the next big thing on their hand, man.
And I love Hustle sometimes, bro. He says some great things. I like that, bro. Not in The Last of Us 2 so much.
I ain't played it yet, but I've seen some things that I'm... Nah.
All right, so here's where I stand. All right, let's talk a little bit about the studio itself. The individual over the studio, she does have some clout, so we can't say she doesn't. There's a good chance she's going to make something. I think the last time I checked, it was a multiplayer game, isn't it?
I think so, yes.
So, do you guys
take a look?
First off, let's talk about the PlayStation is doing serious investing to a multiplayer infrastructure. They bought Bungie, and now it looks like they're buying. They bought Haven, so. They're buying these studios that, maybe not Haven, but Haven is it was built to make multiplayer games. And what's interesting is, what is Jade Raymond's game? Because I'm kind of curious.
The last game was, I think, Assassin's Creed. Wasn't that the last thing she worked on? Assassin's Creed, which one was it? It was a long time ago, bro.
Like Black Flag?
Yeah, we're going way back. Yeah.
Oh, God. Okay, let me take that back. Sony, what you doing? Why are you investing?
She did head a studio for a first party at Stadia, but they didn't build anything. They were gotten rid of before they even started.
Well, that's not really her fault, but still.
No, it's not her fault. But what I'm saying is, her pedigree, she does have some good games under her belt, but they're so long ago that I don't even remember. And the thing is look, she could be a great developer and have a great team on her hands. But the first thing that I thought of when I saw them, that they acquired Haven, the first thing that popped in my mind was, I thought it already happened. Because I remember when they were even announced as a studio and they were being backed by Sony to build a multiplayer exclusive game like a year and a half ago or so. It might have even been 2 years ago. I forgot when that news dropped. But when it did, soon after, I always thought, man, they might as well acquire them. So I already thought they were acquired. So when I saw that news come out, I was like, oh, this isn't a big deal. I thought they would go that route anyway. Okay.
I get that.
It's a games as a service type game. So
it's a live service.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but they need that. They're gonna
well,
need that.
Didn't they hire some ex-Destiny devs and stuff? Like they got people over there that's working on a lot of live service. I think I remember specifically they said Destiny, but that's besides the point. Let's talk about organic growth.
Or organically.
Oh shit.
Now,
Yeah.
I know they invested into the studio, and I know that they funded it to a point. But do you guys think that this is an example of organic growth?
100%.
Oh, you think
I think because this studio basically started because of the backing of Sony, I think this is 100% organic. Do I feel like this is organic in a way that a lot of people were pushing, and I'm talking like fanboy narratives, when this whole discussion was being talked about a year ago, where Sony only, acquires studios that have they built long relationships with and they've had success with games. No, it's not like that, because there was no success here yet. There could be, but yes, it is traditionally, like by definition, it's organic because they were kind of funded by Sony originally. So
I will give you that, because we're a big thing over here where we're talking like, I don't believe the narrative that people were pushing is organic growth. I think this is more organic growth. Now, obviously, there's joking. Like, if you look at it from the standpoint of the fanboy, this isn't organic growth. But if you look at it, it's Insomniac. They worked with them. They said that's organic growth. No, that's investing into Insomniac to make games for you. And Insomniac takes the games, the money that you've been feeding them, and they're growing their studio. Really had nothing to do with PlayStation.
In my opinion, it's just as organic as, say, the initiative with Microsoft.
Because they're there from the infancy stage, like the close to the infancy stage.
And somebody in the chat, Flame with the $2, says it's not a live service game; it's a Sony template game. No, it is a live service game. It's supposed to be a multiplayer games as a service game.
I will link that article from Games. It's a Games Industry.
And I believe now this is another point I wanted to bring up. Is I think that the reason why they're building upon this game, this Haven Studios, is because this is going to be one of the studios that I think is going to funnel games into their Spartacus service. I think their Game Pass type service is going to have more of these types of games going day and date than, say, their big AAA, single player narrative blockbusters. They're going to put more of these types of games in their version of Game Pass, essentially.
And they're going to need to do that because they got to keep up with Game Pass, regardless of what people like, regardless of how people feel about Game Pass.
Facts.
The second Game Pass PC syncs up with Game Pass on consoles, and the Game Pass Ultimate thing is a real thing into where they're in parity with each other. I mean, PlayStation would be in big trouble. See, I would never buy an Xbox Series S or X. I need to get one, but there's certain games that aren't on the PC version of it that I would love to go back and play. So PlayStation, they're gonna have to find a way to keep up. And hey, look, I hope it works. I hope it work out for them, man, because I'm all for the growth and development.
I like Nix's question in the chat. He says, "Why does it matter if something is organic, an acquisition?"
It really doesn't.
That's a good question. It doesn't matter.
We're just talking from the standpoint of what we see the media saying, what we see in the Twitter streets. Like, I've always felt like what they did with Naughty Dog, that's organic growth. They took Naughty Dog in their infancy stages and they invested money into them, helped them bring in talent, and nurtured them up to making the games they're making now. You see it with the people who made Ghost of Tsushima, Sucker Punch, right?
Yeah.
Sucker Punch. They went from Infamous. They've nurtured them up to Ghost of Tsushima. That is what I feel like is nurturing. Now, I don't think it's Insomniac's nurturing. I know people disagree with me on that. That is PlayStation funneling money into a studio, and them taking that studio and they're hiring from with that money. Like, for instance, if they would have bought Insomniac 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and they've built up to Spider-Man, that's natural, organic growth.
Attic, real quick. What? Turn us up.
Turn you up.
Turn us up. Yeah, I'm listening to what's now.
Okay.
We're kind of low.
And so, okay, yeah. Okay, so it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, regardless if you buy a company that already has that, or you don't buy a company, you have to naturally grow that. The difference between those two type of studios is money. If a studio has that clout, they've had that time, they have that organic growth, they've grown for years, and they're making that type of game, you're probably going to have to add another zero to buy that type of game. But when you buy a game like Compulsion, you nurture it from the start, and then you go from We Happy Few, whatever they're doing after that, whatever they're doing after that, that comes with a shorter cost, but maybe a greater result at the end. You get the same result if you do it right, regardless what spectrum of the side you're on.
Yeah, one could argue it's organic growth with the acquisition of Bethesda, because Bethesda has had a long-standing relationship since Xbox's inception. They've with Morrowind being the first RPG on console like that. Bethesda has had a great relationship with Microsoft over the years. That's pretty organic as well, but it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. It comes down to the developer's talent. If you acquire a talented team, you're gonna, do well with that team if you let them do what they do. It's kind of silly to even, really push this whole. It needs to be organic or whatever. It doesn't need to be.
And that's what I've always stated. Like when people say Sony does stuff that makes sense for them. No, Sony does stuff that they're able to buy, because people forget they bidded for the people that own Warframe. They've bidded for WB Games. They've bidded for these studios. They just get outbidded. Yeah. It's not that they don't want to. It's just they don't have money to compete with the Apples and the Sony, Microsofts. They don't have that type of money to compete with Tencent. Tencent's the people that beat them in that race with the Warframe. Like, they go after studios that make sense to them and the amount of money they have in the bank. That's why instead of them openly going after bigger publishers, they're going to double down on their studios, because one takes an absurd amount of money that you might not be able to come up with. Now, look, people act like Sony can't buy companies like Square Enix. They can. But the question is can they convince investors to let them spend that money? That's the question. It's easier for Microsoft to go to an investor meeting and say, look, I need $78 billion to, or however much it was, I can't remember, to buy Activision. When they look, okay, how much do we have in money? Oh, we got like $1 trillion in cash. Well, obviously I'm joking. But when they look at that, they see all of that extra money is they could take risks. And keep in mind, with inflation going up, that money's just devaluing. So they better invest that before it actually is worth less than it is now this time next year. So,
no, I agree.
At the end of the day, I'm excited. We're going to see a different Sony. People keep saying that,
we're already seeing a different Sony, bro. It's already happening.
Well,
they're
I'm
doing
just saying,
things that are out of their comfort zone for years now.
We're seeing the starting roots that's going to lead into a tree in the future. And it's exciting because
it is.
And then, let's talk a little bit about Gran Turismo 7. All right.
Okay. Do we have to, though?
Yeah,
right.
we got
sure.
you. It's everywhere, man. It's everywhere. How do you guys feel about this situation that's going on with Gran Turismo 7? We'll start with Hustle first.
Cool. I'll make this quick. Polyphony did this, right? It's Polyphony Digital. Yeah. So I ain't surprised, because I remember a very long time ago, 2006, and I mentioned this on the podcast before. I remember 2006. Shout out to G4. Morgan Webb had actually broke down everything with, I forget what Gran Turismo it was, but in order for you to buy everything in that game, and this is when DLC was unheard of like that. In order for you to buy everything in that game, I think you needed to spend like $4,000 to buy everything in that game, or you had to like play like hell. This is the same thing all over again, man. I'm cool on that, man. I'm sure the game is fun. Shout out to Jay Guy. He know who he is. Him and Hardhead, they've been playing it and having a great time and everything. Shout out to them, but I'm not surprised, man. I'm more, I don't know, like I feel like we have a grasp on this, our community in general, right? Like you see a ton of people making videos about it. Like, how did you ever think you would get away with something like that, as far as having all the microtransactions in it without having somebody saying something about it? Like, how long do you think you was gonna get away with all that?
Well, see,
it's neither here nor there for me.
They didn't think they'd get away with it. That's why they implemented it after the reviews came out.
Man.
They updated the metrics and how much stuff costs, what you got for this. Like, what they did with that game every reviewer that reviewed that game should have went back and redid their review. Every single one of them. But it seems like all they did was just go in there and be like, they updated the game a couple days after I reviewed it, but instead of punishing them for it and re-reviewing it to a point, they're like, we're just going to give you an like some kind of update at the bottom of the review. It's like, but it's not the same game anymore.
It doesn't change the score. Yeah.
Yeah. And that blows my mind, because all you're doing there is showing, oh, Sony's like, oh, that works. Like, it's like, what else can we do? That was.
Do you remember the backlash that it was what was it? Forza Motorsport 7 got
for
when it was reviewed,
that wasn't,
and they were talking about the microtransactions, and they got dinged for it, and they weren't even in the game. So reviewers were dinging them for microtransactions in their reviews. Yet there wasn't any microtransactions in it.
I got a question there, and shout out to yo, his name crazy. In the chat. So this game apparently it's a single player game, right? Is this game just a single player game?
Yes.
So why does it need to be always online? Because
I'll tell you
apparently it was down for 24 hours.
Microtransactions.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? They go out and they say stuff like, we do it because of the cheaters. We don't want to give a bad example in the place we play. That's all smoke screens. They do it because they don't want people hacking into the game and getting all of these cars where they don't get the money from the microtransactions.
And they've said as much, and this is why I argue with people when I talk about the microtransactions being so egregious, and people arguing with me saying, you don't have to buy them though, Fonz. And it's like, but look, you're paying $70 for a product, which is forcing you to go online. And they said, yeah, that's what we have a problem with, is it being always online. Well, then you have a problem with the microtransactions because they go hand in hand. The reason why you're online with this game is because they're keeping track of your credits that you earn towards getting those cars. And of course, you have to play a lot of races to earn any of these cars because they cost a lot of money. So they are essentially pushing you towards those microtransactions. Just because you didn't buy them doesn't mean that, Joe Schmo is not buying them, because he's not about to, race 700 laps on a certain course just to get one car.
And what's crazy is
it's insane.
I saw in a someone put like a chart on Twitter that said a certain car in there, I think it was like 10 million or 18 million or something like that, that Hustle, it took 20 hours of gameplay to get that car.
Yeah.
Can you what's the car? What's the car?
It was like a McLaren or something like that. I don't know. But
well, when you talking big money like a McLaren.
Yeah, but this is a game. This is a game.
I know.
Like,
so Sony said, hey, speaking of that, Sony said themselves they wanted real-world pricing within the game. And I'm thinking to myself, when I'm playing a video game, I don't want to deal with real-world pricing
what's funny?
if I want to play these cars,
You know what's funny?
Insane.
They said they want real-world pricing. Okay, then you should have circuits and stuff that give you real-world prizes. Like,
there you go.
But they don't do that. Like,
they're nickel and diming you.
To my knowledge, like, they might do that, but it's quicker to do smaller races to get more money quicker. But it's just like, to me, I don't understand why people just let this slide. No one said nothing. No one, like, I when this happened and they hit that on switch, I saw very few people speak out against this. Very few people. And this isn't a Microsoft thing. This isn't a Sony thing. This isn't a Nintendo thing. This is, if you let them do this, other companies are going to do this. You literally just told them you can do whatever the hell you want in a game. Just set it for a patch after the reviews, because no one's going to call you out on it. And maybe that's because, we got to be real here. Sony's been very notorious for blacklisting people when they say anything they don't like about their games.
And I have to correct Albert G. Yes, Halo Infinite is always online, but you can play the campaign offline. You can.
So. Yeah, because the multiplayer is the faction that's online. It's just like, I didn't get upset, but I just got frustrated. It's just like, how did no one call them out on this? Like, no one. It's the same thing that doesn't make.
Did you? But that's the thing, and you brought it up earlier. When they made these reviews, all the reviewers, they didn't have the credit system all in place just yet. So they didn't have the microtransactions. They didn't know how much all this stuff was going to cost. and then that conveniently comes out after the reviews are posted. That's what I don't like.
And the crazy part, Fawns, is it's like these same reviewers, they didn't say nothing. Like they did their little update, and they did that because they did that for their own image. They didn't do that because it was the right thing they do. They put that in the review because they wanted people to know, because they didn't want someone to go there, look at a review, see the review, play the game, and say, why didn't you tell me about any of this? So obviously they're going to update the reviews so people don't give them that kind of stigma. And that's the part that blows my mind. It's like Fawn said, a few years back, we did the Forza Motorsport 7. There wasn't even microtransactions in the game.
And they got dinged
for it. Bad. But this game, this is even worse than microtransactions in the review. This is sneaking microtransactions in the back door.
After. Yeah.
And that's 10 times worse. But no one said nothing.
Albert G, come on, stop it, bro. He says GT7 rewards dedicated playing. So that's what we're calling it now. If you want to get a McLaren, you have to be dedicated and spend 20 hours just for that one car. No, what I call that is a raping of sorts. Because listen to this. Like, you're looking at this situation where you've got a $70 game with some of the most egregious, microtransactions out there, and you are defending that. Let's look at that. This whole scenario, next gen gaming. Oh, it should cost $70. I would gladly pay $70 for quality. Why? Because games should be more higher in price, because things are getting more expensive. Yes, but there was mitigating factors for this, and that was microtransactions. That's why for years we haven't had price increases for games, because of these egregious practices, and we've been dealing with this forever. But now they're getting their cake and eating it too. They're getting the extra $10 from you, plus those egregious microtransactions. You're just taking it in the rear and loving it, and I don't see why. They literally charge these individuals $70.
And then it would be different if they had things in here to accommodate for this. Like, I don't know if this is in here in the chat, correct me, but I've not seen it at all. They had some kind of, test driving thing where you could test drive a vehicle or something to that nature. I've not seen anyone refer to that. They might have that. I've been told you can't sell cars. Is that true? I've been told you cannot sell cars in Gran Turismo.
No, you can't.
So
you can't sell the cars.
If you look at it from a multiplayer aspect where they made it always online, it's debatable why they did it, but I'm pretty sure we all know why they did it. They did it so people don't play this game. They don't take their hacked PS5 or PS4 or whatever the case may be, hack and get you all of these cars, play it offline, and never log in, and they can have all these vehicles, because they don't want you doing that. What they want you to do is give them this money. That's what they want you to do. I've always had no issue with putting microtransactions in the game for a shortcut, as long as the base game wasn't fluffed. For instance, I loved the Assassin's Creed games, the newer ones. Now, I do agree that I love my older Assassin's Creeds more, but these are okay. They're good games. They have this XP system that was in Odyssey. It was atrocious.
I didn't like that.
And so they pretty much, let's say they take 100%. The game was supposed to be these 100% grade scale. When the game came out, they cut it to 50, and they sold you the extra 50. So it's just like, when you do stuff like that to enforce them spending money, where it's not an option, they're encouraging you, and not only are they encouraging you, they're punishing you that you're not doing it. That's where I have the difference of opinion, and I think it's wrong.
And they're punishing you by keeping you always online for these microtransactions, mind you, and you guys don't even see it. All you guys think is, oh, I hate when the servers are down and I can't play the game. Why can't I play offline? It's a single-player game. It's because of those microtransactions. Start thinking. Start talking with your wallet. If a game is $70 and it's a single-player game, there should be 0 microtransactions in it. And if they are there, don't buy them. Just don't.
You know what was I don't even like the cosmetic stuff. Look, here's how I like microtransactions. If they're done, I would prefer them gone. I like microtransactions where, like Destiny. Okay, Destiny's microtransactions is crazy, but what they do in this is they're like, look, the hot shit this season you're not getting. You're just not. Like, you're not getting these for the most part. Now, they will show up in the Eververse every now and then, but it's just like, but if you stay with us till next season, we're going to put all this hot shit this season and Eververse regularly next season. So you don't have to spend a penny if you want this stuff. It's just, if you want it now, you're going to have to open up your pocket. I like that type of system. Now, I would prefer if they just gave it to me in Nightfalls and stuff, but clearly we in a realm where that doesn't exist. But when Destiny gives you rewards for doing it. They're like, look, we're going to give this this bright dust that you can get throughout the year. And when stuff pops out in the Eververse, you just go get it with that currency. That's a good way of doing stuff. Now, I don't like the way that Assassin's Creed did their stuff and Gran Turismo 7's doing their stuff. Because to me, that is asking the player to go above and beyond to get stuff that they should naturally get through progression of the game.
Yeah, and you shouldn't make that progression harder and patch it to get even harder to get those credits and those cars and make them more expensive. That is what's really egregious here. And the thing is, at the end of the day, again, I have to bring up the whole, the fact that we were, not being charged $70 for so many years or extra for these games. We were at that $60 price point for so long because of these mitigating factors: microtransactions, DLCs, season passes, collector's editions. You know what? If you want to charge $70 for a game, get rid of all those mitigating factors. Stop, and I'll gladly pay $70 for the games. No problem. But until you do so, I am not paying $70 for your games because you continue to do this sort of thing and nickel and dime us. And we're not fools. As consumers, we can see this stuff. At least I'm no fool. And I know you aren't Addict and you aren't Hustle. You see this stuff going on.
Well, slow down. I get stupid sometimes. But here's what I will say. No, I'm playing. Here's what I will say, right? About as far as the microtransactions, even the price increase, I know you said you gladly pay for that. Here's the thing, man. I wouldn't, and I'll tell you why. Because there are more people playing games than there ever has been. So
that's true, and that is one of the mitigating factors as well. It is true, but I'm just saying, if they got rid of every freaking microtransactions and DLCs that is, that they are using to their advantage nowadays, they're actually keeping content from some games just to bring it out later for more money and stuff. If they got rid of all that stuff, then that's when I say, okay, do the $70 price point. Have the game's whole at the start, none of this BS going on, then I'm good with it. But other than that, no. $70. The game shouldn't be $70. It just shouldn't.
I mean, well, that's. I mean, I feel like no game should be $70. Like I see Kirby. Shout out to Kirby and the Forgotten Lands, the first 3D Kirby ever, which apparently is getting really good reviews. I think it comes out in 2 days, I do believe. That game is $69 or $59. So, I mean, that just is what it is. Like, I feel like if you make good product, people that go buy good product. Animal Crossing will literally can literally tell you everything that you need to know. A lot of people call that a pandemic game, and that game came out at the right time. It don't matter, over 20 million people went and bought that. Like, I think that's sitting at like 30 million. Like, that's wild to me, and it's $50.
So I say that all the time, bro. A good product will sell.
Yep.
That's
we don't got to worry about the next. We don't got to worry about the next Grand Theft Auto coming out, and then the joint, regardless of what it is, like people gonna scoop it off the shelf, man.
It's like I've always said, it doesn't matter what your previous history is. Like, I get it, Cyberpunk. They did, CD Projekt Red did some crazy stuff with Cyberpunk.
Oh, they dropped the ball.
But if they come out with that Witcher, and it's like you play it, and it's Game of the Year stuff. People are going to forget it's about funny. Cyberpunk.
People are very fickle that way, especially gamers, when it comes to certain development teams. And, if they drop the ball on a certain game, but then they come out and mention The Witcher, and they're like, oh, my God, The Witcher's coming, and everybody's excited again. The CD Projekt Red is great again. As much as I loved Cyberpunk 2077, because I did love my playthrough with that game, but I can't deny that they didn't drop the ball. I mean, they did a lot of wrong there, especially for the old consoles, telling people that it ran great and then it didn't run very well at all on those consoles. It was just a mess. And, I totally, they deserve everything they got for that, all the heat.
Yeah, and look, at the end of the day, we got this $2 super chat from God's Hitman. Talk about the new meeting between Xbox and Activision. Do you have any idea what he's? I know that they're on like the next process in their meeting to buying it. Look, man, I'll be real with you. God's hit, man. I'm not a lawyer.
Yo,
I don't know anything about that process.
Hey, first off, your name is crazy. I like it though. I don't know if that was what I was referring to earlier when we were talking about how the certain shareholders want to come in just in case this deal doesn't go through, and they would still want Microsoft to acquire Activision itself. So I don't know if, or like the entire Activision, I don't know if that is where it came from. God's Hitman, if you were still here, let me know, because I didn't hear it. I didn't see nothing about that. And shout out real quick. I don't know if he follows y'all, but he damn sure follow me, and he be hitting me off with news articles all the time. Shout out to the finest on Twitter. That boy, that boy different, man. He just go.
He's like, always hitting with news articles all the time, bro.
Yeah,
he hits up everybody, I think.
Yeah,
good guy.
I appreciate him. Yep. Yeah, I definitely appreciate him. But that, I don't know if you're referring to that. So let me know. What's up, Forte? We see you down there.
Yeah, what's up, Forte?
We got 2 options from Don Otaku. Assassin's Creed what is Assassin's Creed New Horizons?
Yeah,
hitting 40 million as an exclusive. Is that their new game? Is New Horizons?
No, it's Dawn of Ragnarok.
Dawn of
Ragnarok. The new one.
I don't know.
DLC. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what that's about. But I get that. Look, at the end of the day, it's not necessarily I care about what what the people who make Gran Turismo is doing to their player base, because I don't care about that game. Like, and to be honest with you, if you bought that, Yeah,
but here's where I kind of disagree. Is I don't like practices like this because it sets precedents.
And
it starts trends sometimes. And if people are okay with what GT7 is doing now, they're going to be okay with the next installment or the next game they decide to make. And it's just like, where does it end? I don't want to see this trend continue, especially at a $70 price point. I don't care. Like, that's just.
And I agree with you. And it's like, that's why I brought up earlier about like the chat, the reviewers not saying nothing, because if the reviewers would have revolted and they would have re-reviewed the games and they would have and it's Metacritic, what?
Yeah. No, AC stands for Animal Crossing. I'm sorry. I don't talk. My fault. He said Assassin's Creed. I'm going right along. My fault, pimp. My fault.
New Horizons. Oh yeah, that's right. Animal Crossings, New Horizons.
I think you could safe to assume that none of us played that game. But look,
I didn't. No.
Yeah,
my son does. Yeah.
At the end of the day, if the reviewers would have stood their ground and they would have re-reviewed the game, imagine if it would have went from an 87 to like a 73 or 74. Then, the next time this will happen, Sony will be like, "Yo, last time we destroyed our Metacritic score. Let's not do that again."
Allegedly, we can't. You said you mentioned something earlier. I wanted to stop you at it. We can't say for sure that Sony is doing that.
Sony's doing that. I will say Sony's doing that. Here's the thing: if Sony wasn't doing that, those microtransactions would have came out with the reviews. The fact that they put them in there after the reviews were posted meant they deliberately put that system in there after the reviews posted because they wanted to not let them affect the scores of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's wrong, and no one called them out on it. It is what it is, and hopefully, people, that ship will get corrected. I want it to get corrected because I feel like, we like Fawn said, we're paying $70 for games. Well,
you could even be enjoying the game. I get it, but if you're out there like defending these practices, seriously, you need to stop. It's not a good look for you and for the consumer base, the gamers, none of us. Like, this is bad, and you got to call it out when it is bad, and this is truly bad. It doesn't matter what platform this would have been on. Had it been on Xbox, Nintendo, it don't matter. I would have said something bad about this.
That's what I was saying earlier, that this isn't a PlayStation thing. This isn't an Xbox thing. If anyone would have done this, I feel like the response should be the same thing. Like, that's what I feel about, like, broken games. Same thing. We give people too many slack. Like, when broken games come out, Xbox needs to pull that sucker off the store. PlayStation needs to pull that sucker off the store. Now, obviously, I don't mean like games that have a little bit of glitches in them. And, I mean games that's like Cyberpunk, Battlefield 5, Halo, Master Chief Collection. And Elden Ring, it was a little bit there at the beginning, on par with that, but it never quite went that high.
I would say it was never that bad. Wait a minute, it wasn't
on PC. I heard that it was kind of weird, like it had issues.
It was a lot of stuttering, a whole lot of stuttering on PC. I think they kind of corrected that with the latest patch. I think it's patch 106 or something like that. I think they fixed it with that because when we gotta kill us. Because when I played that just now, it wasn't when I played it when I played it Sunday, it was cool. Everything seemed to run normal on Elden Ring. But everybody, we all kind of gotta stand up with, when it comes to like the microtransactions. The same way we all stood up for when Xbox was trying to make Xbox Gold trying to double the price. We all kind of stood up on that. It's like, nah. We said, nah, fam. So we all got to do that. So that's our responsibility.
Well, I'll say most of us did. There were a couple of Xbox dudes that were like, hey, guys, price increase hasn't happened. So, I'm just like, man, you better shut up.
I think when it comes to me is I don't want the price increase, but I know it's inevitable, and there's nothing I can do to stop it.
I'm there too. It's inevitable. It's
and especially the part that sucks the most is being a content creator. Some of these games, like, I'm expected to buy, to cover, to review, to stream.
Yeah.
So I'm in a shit situation because I have to support the nonsense to get content out because of the nonsense. To get content out on the nonsense. But, that's all I'm saying, man. Like, you could go out there, you could play Gran Turismo. Ain't nobody gonna say nothing. I see the people that love that type of gameplay, they're loving it. So kudos to you, man. You got a solid product that is being ran by criminals. But let's
man, he said criminals.
That's that. Look, man.
It is criminal behavior. I'll tell you that. It's very egregious. Yeah.
It's crazy how they did it, but it is what it is. Let's get to the main event of the evening.
Let's do it.
All right, so we got two titles we're gonna talk about: Fable, made by Playground Games, and Hellblade, made by Ninja Theory. We had one individual that has worked for both of these developers. He left Playground Games and went back to Ninja Theory. It did seem like he went back. I think that's how I read it. So pretty much he said that, Hellblade it's kind of like a little bit of a slow pace. Like, he didn't say it was like anything bad over there. He just said it's not moving as fast as they would hope because it is something drastically different, and where they don't have a studio built around RPGs. Because when you have like From Software go from Sekiro Shadow Dies Twice to Elden Ring, regardless if there's two kind of different type of games, they're the same type of gameplay. But you have a company such as Playground Games that's went from, Forza Horizon 5, Forza Horizon 4, and now they're going to something like Fable. They have a second studio. You might hire people to go in there, but the studio, when it was built, was not fostered around that particular type of genre. So you're going to have a little bit of hiccups there because it's a live and learn kind of thing. Now, they did hire people from Lionhead, ex-Lionhead developers. I hope that community manager didn't get hired because I heard he was one of the reasons that Fable was always going downhill because he was always crazy with the promises, man. But, we won't go into him too much, But he went back to Ninja Theory, and he brought that up, and I'm not saying he's not wrong because he is. He's right. I would assume that they do have a good amount of people over there that's worked on type of RPGs, but I understand that when the bulk of the work's probably being worked on people that's made a different type of genre, it's going to be a little bit of a transition, and I think that's what he was really referring to. It's like he wasn't really trying to say the studio's doing bad. He was saying like, look. It's a little bit slower in progression because they're doing something new. So clearly, it's going to have like a form of new
it kind of sounds like this guy pulled a Drew Murray. He went to one company and then went back.
He went from a Microsoft company to another Microsoft company.
No, but this guy, I'm just saying that he kind of went away for a little while and then went back to his original studio, and he's like, I feel more comfortable here.
The way that he described it is he left around the time that they were about towards the end of Hellblade, and he wanted he likes the beginning process. He likes being the creative process at the beginning.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I could see developers being more creative in that aspect. And he makes a lot of sense when he talks about Playground games starting a whole different type of genre. I mean, this is totally new for Playground, right? They're going from a racing franchise to a third-person action adventure, essentially. It's a very different genre, a very different game. So, yeah, I don't know how that works, but I would assume that it would be slower, like he said, in building upon this game. But yeah, I don't know. I don't. I can't disagree with the guy. It's probably right. He's probably 100% correct there.
All right, Albert G, I'm sure you're trolling, but we're going to entertain your trollingness. Kojima made a new studio and came out with a game with no problems, so it's possible. I'm pretty sure.
What game? What game was
Death
that?
Stranding.
Well,
I'm pretty
that
sure.
Game?
I'm 100% sure that when Sony signed that man's check for him to make Death Stranding, they didn't expect him to make something like Death Stranding. And there's a reason why they didn't sign up for a Death Stranding 2. Because I'm sure Sony themselves playing that game had no idea what this man was thinking when he made that. Look, people love what that man does, and I get it. He does quality work, and people love his stuff. I personally feel like he belongs in a straitjacket. But that's just me.
I'm with you. I personally feel he's a bit overrated, but that's just me.
No.
Like go back and look at some of those older trailers. Like this, I will say, I feel like Kojima's visions belong in the movie scene, not in the gaming scene. I think he would be a better director than a game developer.
There's a lot of people that love Little Caesars Pizza, and there's millions of franchises out there, and it's horrible pizza.
I was going to say it's a million people. There's millions of people who like trash finds. I said that's what we're going to roll with. All right, cool.
It happens.
All right,
that's all I'm saying.
Well, that joint. Oh, it's god awful. It's god awful.
All right, so back to the Fable thing. Like first off, I want to ask you guys first. Do you have any kind of concern after hearing this about the Fable franchise? Well, going forward, not the past ones. And second, when do you think Fable is coming out? Because obviously people thought like 2024. I still think 2024, beginning of 2024, is a pretty good, reasonable thing. But we're gonna start with Hustle because I don't like the way he just signed. So go Hustle.
I'm reading the chat. That's why. No, if you're asking me when this game is coming out, because they got announced that they were doing this project back in 2018 with when Microsoft had their Epic E3 when Phil's announced. In fact, he announced the acquisition of Ninja 32. When we first heard that, I would have figured the joint would have dropped next year sometime, right? But this is their first time making a game like this because they typically do racing games. According to what you guys are telling me now, because I had no knowledge of this, if I had to guess, I would say 2025, 2026, which kind of goes along with the theory that I've had the whole time. Hey, Microsoft finna do numbers with Perfect Dark and Fable and all these Avowed and all these other games. This is gonna be like hit after hit after hit. And hey, look, I don't know if PlayStation or Nintendo are gonna be able to withstand. I think it'll lead to Microsoft doing great things if those games all live up to the hype, at least the hype that I'm putting out there, man. Because I think it's going to be dope. But I say 2026. It's 2022? No, 2025. I feel comfortable saying that. I'll give about another 3 years. I'll get another 3 years.
2025.
I'll get another 3 years, man.
Fun.
What's up? I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
Please don't agree with him.
I kind of agree with him. I kind of agree with Hustle. I think it's going to be
25. Yeah,
I think we possibly won't even see anything from Fable until 2024. Look, if this is what he's saying, a developer there, because you have to, like, if I'm going to believe anybody, I'm going to believe the developers from the teams and stuff. And if this guy is saying, yeah, it's a slow process over there, it's really moving slow because, this is their first delve into this genre and everything. They're not used to this. Man, he's saying that now. That's telling me it's not coming out for some years, bro. Like,
man, you guys are bursting my bubble.
But
I was expecting,
it's not to say it's going to be bad or anything. I don't know, but
I was expecting some gameplay by like next year at E3.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. Not gameplay.
If we don't see,
not gameplay, you might see another teaser trailer.
No, I don't want to see no damn teaser trailer. I want to see gameplay.
You might see a Fable splash screen with a little fairy flying through the place. You know.
Hold on, y'all. Hold up. Hey, Fooly time in that chat. Hey, no perfect dog slander. I will block you in this joint. No perfect dog slander. We slow down. You slow down in that chat.
I'm sorry, Hustle. I got a lot of perfect dark slander, but you know,
hey, sir, please don't be the first.
I just think there's problems with the initiative. I'll just tell you that much. I think there's problems there.
If you saw the podcast last week, me and Attic was talking about it. I'm a little concerned my damn self, to be honest with you, and like that turnover, like. I guess we'll see turnovers like that in the industry, but we don't really hear too much about it. We don't see that often. But when that list came out, it's like, that's a big
34.
list.
34.
That's a lot of people.
And a lot of them are senior level creativity. You know, that is a lot of freaking people. But here in this situation with Fable, though, at least at Playground Games, you're not seeing a mass exodus of developers. Mm-hmm. So you just hear this one guy saying, yeah, it's a little slow process. That's expected. But you know, you're not seeing a bunch of them saying, hey, creativity is being stifled. The hierarchy there is top down. It's really heavy. And it's a one-man show over there. And it's Daryl Gallagher. He's the only guy. You're not hearing this kind of stuff coming out of Playground, which is a good thing. So this is a very good thing. At least you're not getting that. That's why I worry about the initiative in Perfect Dark.
Yeah, I don't care about Perfect Dark, to be honest with you. Look, I'm not a big
fan of the game.
I want the game to do well because I feel like the initiative has something to prove. But if that game came out and it flopped, it wouldn't bother me. It really would.
It'd bother the hell out of me. Let me tell you.
It would bother me only that this is a studio that started with Microsoft and was supposed to be touted originally as a quadruple A studio. Yeah, it would bother me a lot because you want to see a brand new studio like this do really well. And I don't care if it was with PlayStation and Haven Studios. I want to see them do really well as well. But, you know, for me, it's about that. It's about, you know, putting a good product out there. I'm not a massive Perfect Dark fan at all. In fact, I think it's a budget GoldenEye ripoff, you know?
Oh, man.
I think Rare tried to capitalize on that kind of genre because, you know, what they did with GoldenEye. And they failed, in my opinion, because I didn't like Perfect Dark. I thought it was just not very good. But that said,
the party has just started, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead, Fonz.
The reboot, the whole reboot. The only place I was really excited is I was thinking, okay, you know, I'm not a fan of Perfect Dark, but hopefully they make this a third-person action adventure. And then you saw that it was first-person, and I'm like, really?
I love that Hustle just Kanye wasted your ass, Fonz. I'm gonna let you finish. I'm gonna let you finish.
He's Kanye and me, but you know, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because this is just my opinion.
Yeah.
I just think that I just want a great product from them. I do want to see a good Perfect Dark game from them, and I still hope that. I just have my doubts because of the situation at hand, because of what Daryl Gallagher did, bringing in his team, essentially a bunch of yes men. That's the way I view it. A lot of these creative directors and stuff that have left the studio already were already citing the fact that creativity was being stifled. Daryl wasn't letting them really have much say. He was very heavy-handed in the project. He's redirecting the project several times already. He's like, nope, changing the direction of the game. That's not a good sign. And then when he brings a bunch of his guys over that he's used to working with, what does that scream? It screams, I brought a bunch of yes men over to listen to me. They're just going to do what I say. That's my assumption. It's not what could be happening. It's my assumption.
I do 100% agree with that. But it could be one of those scenarios where you get all of these people that are used to being head of their divisions, that used to being head of entire departments, and they were bickering with each other too much. I don't think that's the case. I think it's a little bit of everything. I think, Daryl Gallagher might be a little bit too, it's my way or the highway. But sometimes when the captain steers the ship right, it works out. It just depends if we can rely on him to steer the ship in the right way. We got a $5 super chat from Don Otaku. Perfect Dark was, oh God.
He's very wrong.
Perfect Dark was better than GoldenEye in every way possible. Fonz
bad take,
back
Don.
with the bad take. Fonz is back with the bad takes. Everything is right in the world.
all of us old heads would disagree with you. GoldenEye is a classic.
Donald Tucker, you are welcome on this podcast anytime, my friend. I swear. Listen, Foz, you bugging. You wilding. Listen. What Perfect Dark did after GoldenEye was made like GoldenEye in space with a chick and the alien that you could play as too. Like, listen, man.
With a worse story and worse, just whole. To me, it was such a cheap knockoff. Like it just felt like, okay, they put a chick in space, and here you go. Here's GoldenEye all over, but this time a woman in space, and it's like it wasn't the same. To me, GoldenEye holds. I think I have just a bias for GoldenEye because it was one of my favorite games.
Mine too, and I got that on 64.
N64, yeah, all day, man. And it was just a fantastic game in my opinion. And I just always felt that Perfect Dark wasn't that great. And then the second Perfect Dark game that came out on the 360, I believe, or was it I believe it was a 360. It wasn't very good at all. That was even worse.
I felt like Xbox did a really bad job at coming out the gate with those franchises in good ways. Like, if you look at it, Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, a lot of people feel like that's the worst by far. That was the first game out the gate. Then you got the new Perfect Dark. That was the first one out the gate. Like, I feel like if you let people work on these titles, I've been a very big advocate on Banjo-Kazooie. I know I'm hated for that, and that's fine. I will be that villain that everyone needs. I will be the one that's standing at the top of the gate, and I've kidnapped half of the board to make my Banjo-Kazooie. Like, look, at the end of the day, regardless how Banjo-Kazooie it does or does not turn out, you know what else we're going to talk about today? We're going to talk about Hellblade. We've got a little bit of bad news in terms of Fable. And I wouldn't even say it's bad news. It's just
I don't think it's bad.
Yeah, it's interpreted news just depending on how you feel that it went. But I feel like we got some good news from Hellblade because the same individual said that he feels like the combat in Hellblade has been overhauled dramatically.
Thank goodness.
That's what he said.
Holy crap, was that combat in the first game so bad? In my opinion. Hellblade, I couldn't even finish it because to me it's very dull. I'm not a big in-game puzzle fan anyway, and the puzzles in that game, matching up those things, the signs and stuff, it's just dumb to me. And then the combat was very lackluster.
I've always I'm not the biggest fan of Hellblade because it messes with my mental thing with the whispering and stuff. But I've always felt like what stands out with that game in particular is the talking in the ears. Like, I feel like it should be one of those things where that's the direction that the puzzles go through, where you hear whispering and stuff like that. Like, that's what they need to build on. I think the combat, if you take good combat and you put that in Hellblade, I feel like that game would have drastically improved.
Been better. Oh yeah, I would have finished it. I can't get through that game. I can't, man. That combat is not good. And that was the very first thing I said when I heard Hellblade 2 was being in production. I said, hopefully they change that combat. And it looks like that's what they're doing, big time. I mean, they had everybody, including Melina, but including some of the developers, even get in there in mocap suits and train actual mixed martial arts and stuff. So they are actually training to do all this stuff. So they got a better understanding on how to create this stuff, how to implement it within the combat of the game. That is exciting news. So
for some reason, I feel like I might not be the biggest fan of Hellblade, but I feel like Hellblade 2 about to come out, and it's about to come out and hit.
Yeah, I think so too. I think this is a situation where the sophomore outing will be the better of the two for sure.
I feel like, all right, let's take the original studios they bought, with 343 and them. I feel like 343 is going to eventually correct the shit for Halo. Hopefully it's not too late. Just depends on what they do. They can always get the people back. It's just they're going to need something drastic to get them back.
But let's, with 343, the only, man, I'm still on my hate train a bit with 343. Even though I liked Halo Infinite campaign, I thought it was very good. It was a solid outing, but I think a lot of that had to do with bringing back, what's his name, Joseph Staten. And I think as long as he stays at the helm, it could be a good thing. It should be a good thing. But if he were to step back or be pulled off and 343 goes its own way, I think they'll slide again. Because right now, I mean, if you look at it, Halo Infinite was finished. By the time it was finished, the development team consisted of 30 to 50% of just people they had from outside sources. They weren't even part of 343. They were just brought in to help. 30 to 50% of the development team was like that. So I don't know what's going on now with them, but yeah, you're right. And then, but I think with Ninja Theory has grown exponentially under Xbox, and Ninja Theory has always had some great games under their belt. They've got a great pedigree. Just because I didn't like Hellblade doesn't mean I didn't like their older games. Hell, I just put out a tweet last night talking about Heavenly Sword. I loved Heavenly Sword. It wasn't the best game out there mechanically or anything, but damn, it was good. It was a lot of good fun.
Got a $5 super chat from Tona Taku. Ninja Theory are combat gods, but it was clear they skipped over it because of the budget and small team. I have faith that Hellblade 2 will correct that. Now, look, let's talk about the studios, all right? Like I said, I think Bungie will eventually, not Bungie, I think 343. Well, they'll eventually correct the ship. Now, regardless if there's a game there to save once they save it, it's debatable. Now, I've always felt like it doesn't matter. All this talk's nice, but if they do what they're supposed to, they'll get those players back. It just, the longer it takes, the less chance they have of the biggest result. All right, then we talk about, people who make gears. The coalition. The coalition.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I feel they're not in trouble at all, bro.
Yeah, I feel like
just fine.
I feel like they put the entire Xbox One generation on their back. Like that whole Xbox One. I believe Compulsion's going to come out with a solid game. I don't know if it's going to be like amazing or anything, but I think people are going to enjoy it. I think that Obsidian's going to hit out the park every time. I've never. That might be their best studio. Like
Obsidian is their Insomniac, in my opinion.
Yeah,
for sure.
Okay. That's hold on, Addict. Hold on. Fonz, now that's high praise. Now, see.
Yeah, that's because if you look at okay, so here's the thing. Just like Insomniac, they put out a lot of good product, quality product, all the time. So Obsidian has put out a lot of games underneath.
Avowed most likely is coming out next year, and they just had a game like 2 years ago.
Yep, and they're always winners, man. Obsidian, in my opinion, they have done no wrong in gaming. Like I like all their games that I've played.
If you look at it, okay, so they made KOTOR 2.
They made the best Fallout ever.
They made Fallout New Vegas. They made South Park Stick of Truth, which is a phenomenal game. They and then their Pillars of Eternity is considered to be the best in that genre. Yep. And then you have The Outer Worlds, which a lot of people feel is Fallout in space better. And then you're gonna have something like Avowed. Avowed's supposed to be their answer to the Elder Scroll type of games. Now, regardless if they pull that off,
bro, that's
debatable. And I feel like there's a good chance we see their stuff this year at E3. Whatever that conference is going to be. I feel like what's crazy? They actually have a really solid year if you think about it. Unless they butcher this and don't show none of this stuff. We're definitely going to see Starfield. We're going to most likely see Avowed. And what else? We might see Compulsion's game. Because I would say that's probably coming close to getting done. It's a good time, man. Like, regardless what's going on with Fable, we might see Fable a little longer. It's okay to wait for Fable as long as they're giving us stuff till then. I think that's been the biggest issue of Xbox is they want us to wait, but they don't want to give us anything to wait with. We might see a new Fallout, like Lord Metro put in there, because clearly, Jeff Grubb, shout out to him, he said that, there was talks and maybe doing a sequel to Fallout New Vegas. Now,
well, would you like them to be more like Sony in the respect where they show games years out, like Wolverine?
I would be okay with that
I'm okay with it.
I would be okay with that as long as they get their look. You get one CGI scene with me, one CGI trailer. That's what you revealed the game with. That's the Fables. That's the Outer Worlds 2. But if you show that sucker again, I want to see gameplay with it.
Yes, exactly. That's how I feel too. However, then you're going to be called, a hypocrite because of Bethesda and the way they work their thing. They will show you hardly anything, and then they'll talk about the game forever, and then they won't show gameplay till 6 to 8 months out before the game releases. And that's just how they've always done things, going back to even, Skyrim, for instance. I think they finally showed gameplay at the end of February before it came out that November. And that's when they showed any gameplay.
Darren Hill, so we said we got Contraband next year. So, look, Xbox is in a good place. Now, I know that, we got to see the games. They got to execute them right. But as of right now, even with what they're doing, they've done a good job of entertaining us. They've done a good job of showing us quality titles that came out like Psychonauts. Like, clearly they didn't buy trashy studios. They bought good studios that can make good products. It just
Psychonauts was a Game of the Year contender last year.
It just depends on, can they elevate these studios? Can they nurture these studios with money and talent, buying with the money, where it's going to make these studios produce better content? So we got a $10 super chat from Don Otaku. People put Insomniac on a too high of a pedestal. Insomniac just started putting out good games that weren't ratchet games. Obsidian has never made a bad game and consistently put out games. I will agree with you. I actually feel like Obsidian is a better game than Insomniac. That's just me. Because
slow down. Just slow down.
Look, no, but hold on. Let me.
Hey, he could have that opinion.
Okay. As far as doing what they do, Insomniac is well known for making platforming games. The Ratchet and Clank, and I would say Spider-Man's a platformer to an extent. It's kind of like a freeloading platformer where you're swinging through the city instead of like going on one by. But you got to get what I'm saying.
Everything blurs the line between platforming and action adventure. Even with Ratchet and Clank, it blurs those lines. And so,
see, they do what they do well. But if you look at something like Obsidian, they have done RPGs in every category and hit it out the park every time. It's not something that's a little bit like, regardless how you feel about Insomniac, they make good games, but they do have occasional, okay, that was a good game, such as like, what's that game they made for Xbox?
You talking about I just played that game too.
Oh yeah,
Sunset Overdrive.
Sunset Overdrive.
Game was
which
good.
Was trash in my opinion.
Game was good, but it wasn't nothing special. And Microsoft at that time needed something special. They didn't get that from them. Ratchet and Clank, those are okay games, but they're not that kind of games. Let's be real here. They're fun games to play with. There's nothing special about Ratchet and Clank games. Spider-Man.
But the one thing they have with all their games, you can say that because those are opinions, right? These are just our opinions. I didn't even like Sunset Overdrive, but what even Sunset Overdrive has is quality. There is that polishing quality that Insomniac continuously put out. Same thing goes for Obsidian as well, though.
And I agree,
they do the same thing.
I agree with the quality. I will say that Insomniac has better quality than Obsidian, because Obsidian makes great games, but sometimes they're buggy. So I do think that brings the quality down a little bit. But
quality, yeah.
The thing is, like, when I'm talking about Obsidian is like, they're making a game in space that's an RPG. They're making a turn-based grid space that's an RPG. They're making they made that kind of like treasure hunter Diablo type of style, Pillars of Eternity. I'm pretty sure that's how that kind of game is. I don't know. Don't fact check me. I've never played that game. You see the different specters that they're making on this. They're not just making, Sunset Overdrive. Let's be real here. They took the foundation of Sunset Overdrive and adapted it and made Spider-Man. That's how they made Spider-Man.
Yeah.
They took the experience of making Sunset Overdrive, adapted it, and like, now let's have him slinging across the world instead of grinding on rails. So they took that.
No, my fault. No, I was going to mention that too, because I did a video on like Insomniac and how consistent they are. And not for nothing, man. They took the weapon elements and from, I think it was Resistance that they made, and they implemented it stuff like that into Sunset Overdrive, and then later on Spider-Man. So like the praise is well due, man. The praise is definitely well due. Look, I'm not no Xbox head, but if I were, that's one of the studios that if they ever came up for sale, but they won't now because PlayStation got them for $230 million. But
that's
them the ones you go after for real, man. Them the ones that you go after because they've proven that they can make a game that's kind of serious and a game that isn't so serious. They make the dope, goofy games, and they can make the more serious games. Yes,
bro,
sir.
Xbox though, when you think about Obsidian and you think about Bethesda and all the teams they have now under their belt, they have Western RPGs on lock, bro.
They do.
The only people they're missing that make serious Western RPGs is, I would say, the people that make Divinity. They're missing them. They're missing CD Projekt Red. Regardless how you feel about their last game, they're still a very competent RPG developer. It's just, I feel like they got too ambitious for Cyberpunk and stuff kept going wrong. And they eventually, it got to the point where politics took over and they were just set out to die. Like, it's just like, look, like, regardless what's going on, it's just a good time in gaming right now. We got games coming out from everyone. I feel like, we're going to see God of War next year. It's going to be a good, like, this year, we're in March, about to go into April. And it's already, we've already been hit with Elden Ring, probably one of the best games that's come out in years. We was hit with Dying Light 2. I know a lot of people had issues, but I love Dying Light 2. Triangle Strategy was a great game. Like, there's literally been a great game every week. We got Horizon Forbidden West that was clapped by Elden Ring. Like, we got all of these amazing experiences that's just there that we don't normally. What's funny is, like, so my girlfriend, she's like, you're playing a lot of games here lately. I'm like, I had to assure her, look, this doesn't happen all the time, okay? Like,
no, it doesn't.
I was like, I can promise you, usually this happens in November, but it's not to this degree. Like, but we got so many games within a 3-week basis. It was insane.
Bro, at the end of the year, you're going to get games like Gotham Knights, Starfield, Hogwarts Legacy. There's going to be so many games at the end of the year that it's going to be the same situation as the beginning.
This might
be insane.
But not only that, though, y'all. Like, in a couple of days, Kirby's, I almost said Kirby's Dream Land. That's the retro one we talking. The new Kirby game is coming out, and one of the games that we didn't mention at all, that y'all didn't mention, right? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge. Yeah, be on the lookout because I'm telling you that game gonna be up there too. Unless if the thing fall off a cliff, that game gonna be up there too. So there's a lot to like really look forward to. They said God of War was supposed to came out this year,
that's not.
I just saw
I think
something.
It'll be out.
No,
it'll be out at the end of the year.
I'd be very surprised.
Hey, y'all, I'll be right back.
Oh, a lot of what God of War it was built upon was older assets anyway. The foundation was already there.
The thing is,
with 2018, so I can't see this game being pushed back very much at all.
The reason I feel like that is because I said it last year. Sony's not the type of the company anymore to release games in November, October. They kind of leave that for the other stuff, and I feel like. I mean, it's possible
but Sony's changing, man. Sony might be doing a little different
but until
now.
I see that change with this particular thing, I have to assume that they're going to at E3, whatever their E3 thing is, they're going to show God of War with like a February release date.
Okay. Let me tell you, I'll give you a date. I think it's going to be dropping. I'll give you the exact date.
Oh, it sounds like you know something. What's up with this?
No. I'm just checking my calendar here. I'm going to say that this game drops October 28th this year.
October 28th.
God of War.
That is a Friday.
October 28th. It's a Friday.
All right, I'm going to put in my calendar right now.
Yeah, if I'm right, then
Hold on, I'll put in my calendar right now. Where October 28th.
October 28th is my my guess.
All right, so
God of War.
We're gonna go to October.
Ragnarok.
October 28th.
I think they're gonna push
the day Fonz loses.
Loses, and then we'll go ahead and put yours in February, and see who wins that.
Okay, so I will say February the 11th. No, the 10th.
You got a date?
The 10th. The day
God of War?
Addict
Yeah, God of War. Give a
wins.
date. Whenever you think it might come out.
Ooh,
This year or
okay.
next year. Give a date.
February 10th, 2023.
Well, if I had to guess, what comes out for PlayStation in November this year? Nothing, right? If it does come out this year, and I had to guess, I'll take a look at my calendar as I do this. It'll be their big. But they don't really drop in November though,
bro. They're gonna go up against Starfield.
Oh, yeah, but they don't really drop in November. When the last time they dropped? Didn't they drop in like September the last time?
They usually drop early, in the year, springtime. They're big games.
March, right? When they March?
February, March, yeah.
Well, we ain't really saying nothing about it, but if I had to guess, if and they ain't worried about no damn Starfield.
Chat, put in.
I'd say November. I would say November 18th. That's my nephew's birthday. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Put in the chat what day you think God of War is coming out. Put 2022 or put 2023.
Hustle's putting a Breath of the Wild on Starfield. He said God of War is going to hit the week after Starfield drops.
Man, ain't nobody tripping off no damn Starfield. All right, you saw what the last one did. We all saw what the last God of War did. Let's not do that. Let's not. Come on, y'all.
But here's the thing. Bethesda, when it comes to their games like this, they do numbers because
Starfield's
it's a lot of casual fans that love
Starfield's going to come
Bethesda.
out and smack God of War straight to the
ground.
ground.
It would smack God of
Oh,
War.
here
when it comes to when it comes to
Oh,
copies
man.
sold, you're talking Steam, you're talking Microsoft, you're talking Game Pass numbers. It's going to destroy anything else.
Fonz, give me an
Everybody's saying
exclusive.
2023.
Give me an exclusive.
I don't have an exclusive, but I'm just telling you from Bethesda's pedigree, what we know of their games when they drop their big games, their Fallouts, their Elder Scrolls, it doesn't matter. When they drop, so many casuals play their games, and that's what it's about, man. You hit that casual market, it's a home run.
Let's have just like a thing that's never gonna happen, but let's do it. God of War, Starfield come out the same year. Who wins?
The
same
Starfield.
day.
In numbers,
the same day.
Starfield.
Who wins that?
And we're talking just numbers.
No.
Starfield.
Who wins that month? Who wins that month in sales?
Starfield.
You think
Starfield?
I think God of War beats it in sales.
I don't.
Facts.
You know why? Here's the thing. God of War
Game Pass
2018.
is gonna hurt.
Here's the thing.
Sales.
God of War 2018 was fresh. It was something new. Everybody's seen what's to come of Ragnarok, and it looks like the same old, right? It looks like exactly like what we got from 2018. There's not much difference there. There's nothing really refreshing coming with this game. But with Starfield, you are getting something refreshing. Bethesda is creating a brand new IP for the first time in so many years. That is the key here. And again, casuals love Bethesda RPGs.
Look, if Starfield has the kind
them.
of caliber of Elden Ring, then yes, it will probably outsell it. But to me, Starfield is going to be in Game Pass day and date, so that's going to hurt the Xbox sales a little bit. It's going to sell very well on PC. We know they always do. I'm just skeptical because I know that God of War is going to be on PlayStation, and it got so much hype from the original one. We got a $5 super chat from Don Otaku. If God of War Ragnarok hits like Forbidden West did, aka more of the same, it's not even touching Starfield.
I disagree. It's not. It's not, bro. If this was God of War 2018, it's different because again, that freshness does a lot for people. Like that brand new thing. When it comes to games, that's what does something for people. Starfield is that new. That's what people want.
I think
I'm telling you,
you will agree, Fonz. I think we said it last week. It's like, look, like. I think Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be an amazing game. God of War Ragnarok is going to be an amazing game, but you can only do that. I'm switching shit up one time.
Facts.
They're not going to get that benefit of the doubt the second time around.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to hear a lot of, this game's amazing, but it's more God of War.
Exactly. It's more 2018 God of War. In fact, a lot of the assets look, it's exactly the same. And people... That does resonate with people. Is like, how much more am I going to get from this game opposed to the last? I have that same feeling with Horizon Forbidden West right now. It's just more of Horizon Zero Dawn. That's all it is. It may look better because of the, resolution and stuff, but at the end of the day, a lot of the assets are pretty the same. The animations and stuff, we've seen them on Twitter. They've done a side-by-side comparison. They used a lot of the same assets. It's what they do. I mean, this is what developers do, and the same thing for God of War. But that freshness does play a lot into these games when they drop.
Done with us. Look at him. He's
no,
like...
it's not that. It's not that. It wasn't that. It wasn't that.
Look, I get it. I do think
it wasn't that.
I think God of War comes out this year. That's gonna be a great year. I don't think it is. Regardless.
God of War is going to be phenomenal, bro. Don't get me wrong. I think Ragnarok is going to be fun as hell. I loved 2018. It deserved to be Game of the Year, even though I prefer Red Dead Redemption 2 that year. I liked it better, and that was my Game of the Year. I still think God of War deserved it over Red Dead 2 because of how many people it really
it deserved it because it was just the better game.
I don't agree, but it doesn't hurt me at all because I loved God of War as well. God of War was phenomenal, but I'm not going to get that same fresh feeling from God of War in this new one coming out. It's the same.
It's going to be the same. When you start Breath of the Wild,
did you play Horizon Forbidden West?
No.
As you're playing it, you're like, this isn't new, bro. This is Zero Dawn all over again. There's nothing new here. They put a grapple hook in that you could barely use anyway. It's like,
oh man.
Like, seriously, like, there's nothing really fresh about it.
All right, well, listen here, you bots. I ain't worried about God of War. And I think it's going to...
I'm not worried about it. It's going to do numbers.
I think it's going to do...
But it ain't going to do Starfield numbers.
See, what's gonna happen, Hustle, is the Goku is going to be Starfield, and Jared is God of War. And the fight was good, but at the end of the day, you know who won that fight. Like,
look at what Elden Ring's done. It put something fresh into the series, and it's doing numbers, and it's doing more numbers than Sony games. And of course, it's on pace to probably do the best numbers this year out of any game until Starfield, I would say. I think Starfield has a chance to be that game to really take over in the numbers game. And I think it's going to sell like gangbusters. This is the first new IP from Bethesda. People are clamoring for this so hard. You had Sony guys fighting for this game before saying, no, this is going to be exclusive to Sony. Yeah, forget what they're saying now. All the negative talk, they can't wait to play this game either. They can't wait.
All right,
there is no way in hell that joint is my fault. My fault at it. There ain't no way in hell that joint out selling Elden Ring. And I ain't no Elden Ring fan, as y'all know. No, that Elden Ring just did like 12 million in like a month.
Oh my god!
In like 2 weeks,
Call of Duty numbers? Yeah. That's insane. But no, that's not gonna happen.
No, I think it could, because you're talking about being sold on Steam as well. I mean, this game isn't just going to be delegated to one platform. This is also going to be on PC as well. I'm telling you, bro, the power of Bethesda compels you. The power of Bethesda compels you.
We'll see.
The power of Bethesda will compel you. And that's just it. The casual market is king, and the casual market loves Bethesda games.
The power of Bethesda compels you.
I feel like he's spraying a little holy water my way. It's not going to work, man. It's not going to work.
It's not working?
Nah.
It's not working a little.
Nah.
We got a $2 super chat from Splendiferous. Will God of War have bugs on release? And if so, what's meta? I don't know what that meta.
What's the Metacritic score? I answered that. I think I put 96. I put 96 in that chat.
Did you say 96?
I sure did.
You really on
God,
the,
I mean, did
you really on the God of
Didn't
War
The Last
juice.
of Us Part 1
Oh, God of War? Bro, it'll be lower than it'll be lower than 2018. It'll hit. What did God of War 2018 hit? 95.
Hit 95.
Yo,
it'll be 91.
you need to stop, Hustle. You're killing me.
91.
You're killing me.
Y'all wild.
Oh, no, we gotta. We're gonna close this.
And
10
again,
minutes.
it's because of the freshness thing. That's a big factor in these games, bro.
We got
brand new IPs always.
We got a Jigga J, been a member for 9 months.
What up, Jigga?
God of War is getting slapped in the face with baby powder by Starfield.
Oh man,
I agree. Yeah, and I love God of War.
We got a $2 super chat from Gregory Allen, man. Put something in there, man. You can always say something. We got a $2 super chat from John Otaku. But Breath of the Wild 2 smacking any game in sight. That's your opinion.
You might not be wrong.
That's your opinion.
You might not be wrong on
we
that.
got a $5 super chat from Lady saying, just putting it out there. God of War isn't for pre-order yet this year. Yet Forspoken or Forsaken or whatever that game's called coming out in October is. How you feel about that?
Yeah, that's true.
Fonts.
Yeah, we ain't heard nothing from it. In fact, as we all were talking, I had saw something on Twitter. Somebody had posted like a picture. Now I don't take too much, I don't take too much into that. But Attic, I'll retweet it. Y'all follow me on Twitter. Y'all see it.
Yeah. So
it's just hey, we ain't heard nothing yet. I mean, hopefully we'll hear something at E3 and then hit us with a surprise drop. But Sony, like Bethesda, do that thing. Well, but Bethesda does that, but Sony don't really do that. So that's
I think you're gonna the next time they show God of War, which will be by E3 time around June, they're gonna talk about it and they're gonna hit you with that date, and it's gonna be October 28th.
All right, so
I hope so.
We got a $5 super stream. Gregory Allen, God of War will sell more than Starfield because the two God of Wars has the larger install base. I don't know what that means.
No, they don't. It won't. Not when the power of Bethesda compels y'all. I'm telling you, bro.
You got it.
The power of Bethesda.
You need to get like a spray bottle, man. IP. Every time
you know what I need? I need a shirt that says "The power of Bethesda compels you" because it's true, bro. History dictates this, bro. Look at all the ES games, all the Fallout games. They sold like gangbusters, and then they were Game of the Award winners. Winners.
You need to have
Game of the Year awards.
You need to have someone say that, and you need to get a sound saying that, like someone funny saying that, like someone with like an accent or something like that. It just the power of.
I'll talk to Gaz. I'll have Gaz say it or something. Record that.
Okay, so we got a $2 super chat from Flame. I love this side of Fawn's power of Bethesda. We got a $2 super chat from Dawn Utaku. Hustle Wildland. Ragnarok and 93 Max. We got a $2 super chat for Hamslow Gaming. Do you think Xbox Games, XGP, Xbox Game Pass will have Steam sticks before Starfield? No, I don't think that. We have a 4-month member Rail saying Forspoken is infamous 4.5. You know what, man? You might be on to something there. All right, we're going to end this with one thing real quick.
Yeah, this was a great show.
We're going to end this with one thing because Hustle almost killed me. He needs to be brought up on charges because he almost killed me. You almost got hit with manslaughter, Hustle.
Oh,
so we're gonna end this with what everyone thinks God of War Ragnarok's getting in a Metacritic score. Go, Hustle.
96.
96.
Let me
God.
Well, let me go ahead and say why. If listen, the story I'm not worried about. Story I ain't worried about. But if they improve on everything that was a misstep before, just like with The Last of Us 2, regardless of what people may think about it, if everything is elevated and everything is fixed, they don't have no choice but to go up.
But the story is what is the only thing that can really change here because everything else is the same. The gameplay is the same. It's just God of War 2018.
They can elevate the gameplay. They can elevate
putting in a grapple hook that you could barely use, like Horizon Forbidden West tried. It didn't work, bro.
Hey, I can't. It's Hustle right. Yes. You damn right I'm right. Who put no in the? Oh, somebody put no in that chat. I shout out to y'all. I feel y'all. I feel that.
No, but you're not crazy because 96 can happen. I mean, God of War is a phenomenal franchise, phenomenal game. But I don't think it's happening. I think the highest it'll get, like somebody said, like a 93. I think it would be the highest. But I think it's going to hit about 91. And 91 is phenomenal. That's a great score. But
of course.
This is the sophomore outing. Look, Last of Us, in my opinion, even though Metacritic, it's totally wrong. It wasn't a better game. Last of Us 2 was not the better game. Last of Us 1 kicks its ass in story for sure.
All right.
But as for mechanics and gameplay, yes, it had it. It was way better. But God of War, it's not really changing up there with mechanics and gameplay. And that's the issue.
That's the
91.
91. Oh, that's reasonable, 91. Hustle. When people hit me with that 96, you expect that to get up there with Elden Ring? The greatness of Elden Ring.
Listen, let me say this. Kratos and Atreus gonna push Thor's. They're gonna peel his cap. I had to really watch my language because I forgot where I was for a second. They're gonna peel his cap back. Y'all saw he pulled up on him. He at the house waiting for him right now. When you boot the joint back up, you know what time it is. Hey, listen. I think it's gonna do better than the last one.
I
definitely think it's gonna sell way more too.
Blade X. At least the grapple hook in Halo, you could actually use that. All right, that's all I'm going to say.
If you ever want to be disappointed, just think that God of War is getting a 96 on Metacritic. So,
oh man,
well, I think it's
going to knock Hustle. He's a smart guy. He's just wrong here today, but he's a smart guy.
I think it's going to get in the high 80s, like 88, 89. I don't even think it's going to crack the 90s. I really don't. Because I think one of the biggest things that made it what it was because it was new. It was different.
Yep.
And I think that reviewers aren't giving it that out this time. I also feel like they're only doing – this is the last game. There's not going to be a trilogy. There's not going to be a third game in this scene. Yeah. So, to me, you still have Odin. You have Thor. Keep in mind, Corey Barlog isn't directing this. Someone else is directing this.
I forget the gentleman's
feel like
name,
you're going to have a lot of cramming the story. Like, we're going to cram whatever we can that makes sense because we're not doing a third game. Like,
well,
it would be different.
They have to, yeah.
It would be different if they're having 3 games. This game you fight that you fought Thor, and the next game you fought Odin. You know what I'm saying? Like,
how many trolls are we going to fight again and again?
Oh,
and
man,
again,
come on now,
how many
come
trolls
on,
are we going to get? Even though I had no problem with it, but that was a recurring theme in the first game. Look, the game is going to be fun. It's going to be phenomenal. It's God of War 2018 again, but it doesn't have that freshness, man, and that is a key factor to getting those high scores. Addict's right. We saw it. It was brand new for God of War, and we're like, wow, this is incredible. This is where God of War needed to go, and that is why it got that 95. That is why it got that Game of the Year award. Starfield is going to have it in spades. Elden Ring has it in spades. We'll see what happens, but.
Let me get these super chats so we can get up out of here. We had 2 large super chats. Splendiferous. Power of Bethesda will make Sony Sony
ponies.
Oh, Sony ponies.
Nah, Sony ponies by Little Man.
Yeah, by Little Man. We got
Splendiferous. Get it right. It's the power of Bethesda will compel you. Yeah.
We got a $5 super chat from Lady Sand. Fonz isn't lying. My first Bethesda game will actually be Starfield. Based on the last roundable they had, I love when I'm hearing about hardcore RPGs. We got a $5 super chat from John Otaku. God of War Ragnarok gonna have more than 3 mob enemies, so it'll be better than the first, but it won't be fresh anymore. So 91. We got a $5 super chat from Artemis, or butchered it. It's cool. We're moving past this. God of War.
Rodimus, yeah.
We'll get a 96 when they have Thor kill Kratos with a golf club.
Man,
the golf club, I mean hammer.
That's funny.
You play as Thor half the game.
That's
bro. Hey, God, I hate y'all. Yo, hey, Rodimus, you a legend for that one. That's wild, boy.
Oh my God. Let me recover.
Nah, I think Sony Santa Monica learned from Tony those mistakes.
Bro, nah. Thor's gonna take off that hood, and it's gonna be Abby with a hammer. Watch.
I mean, they both got the same. Ooh, shut up.
They're built the same, bro. They're built the same.
You can't say that here. Fonz, you can't say that here either. If I can't say it here, you can't say it here. Stop it.
Yo, you guys gotta stop.
Boy, she didn't deserve this. But it's I don't know, man. Fonz, since we are about to get up out of here, it's a blast having you on, man. You got to come back sometime, man.
Oh, of course, bro. I love kicking it with you guys, bro. It's always fun.
The good thing about us moving to Wednesday is like Fonz isn't doing another podcast right afterwards. So,
no.
Yeah.
So, appreciate everyone coming through, man, where we talk about the past, present, and future of gaming. I forgot to say that at the beginning, but it's cool. I said it at the end. We got Fonz here, man. Where people can catch you at? What's going on? I know we did it at the beginning, but that don't matter.
Yeah.
We're doing it now.
All right. Fonzarelli Gaming right here on YouTube. Catch me there. I'm doing my podcast every Sunday. And, Games Talk Live. We'll go one-on-one with community members, industry folks, whoever I can get on the show, basically. That'll say, I'll come. Anybody with a pulse, all right? I'll take anyone.
When's Hustle getting the invite?
I got to get you on, Hustle. I got to get you on. Because we're going to have fun. I have fun with everybody I bring on. It don't matter who comes on. We have a good time. And Hustle is going to be a phenomenal guest. I got to do it. Hustle. Let's do it, man. Let's do it. Hey. 2 o'clock Sundays, 2 o'clock my time, which is West Coast. Hopefully we can do that sometime.
Yeah.
But yes, catch me there. and also RDX Tuesdays on Dealer Gaming's channel.
And
shout out to Dealer, D-Batch, and the rest of the squad over
hustle
there.
And motivate. Yep. What's going on with you, man? What do you got cracking this week?
Well, I plan on streaming Super Mario RPG on Friday on my Twitch channel, right? But I know we got to talking about a few other games, and there's one other game that kind of had my attention before, Addict, and we spoke about this before. The Outer Worlds. I think I might start that up. And if I like it enough, I'm gonna do a stream. I'm gonna try to stream for like 4 hours, right? It's RPGs. I know it's gonna take some time to pick up. If I can get 4 hours there, if I can get 4 hours in on that joint. Oh, and look, y'all keep saying it's a great game. All right, cool. We'll see. I'll be the judge of that. I will be the judge of that.
What's cool is the companions in that game and stuff. It's the dynamic there where you pick up different companions. They're all really cool. They all got their own little attributes and stuff and stuff that they do, and they bring a lot to the table. It's a fun game, really fun game.
Thank you, Lady Sam, for that. Yeah, I definitely needed a haircut. I do want to say this. I will postpone Super Mario RPG because I had something called the Super 6 that I was going to do. But I really do want to play the Outer Worlds, even if it's just the first one and not the DLC. I do want to play that just to see.
Good games, man. You know
just
what?
See if it was hitting for, man.
You know what
I gotta
like?
try it.
If you do like the Outer Worlds, what I like is when you do the expansions, like when you bring up the quest log, they glow in different colors. Like one expansion will go like green, one expansion will go red. So like it tells you, look, this is what this has to do with this expansion, and this has to do with this expansion. And what's cool is like originally it wasn't like this, but if you're at the if you're loading to the last mission and you want to use that character, but you've already went to the point where no return and you save there, they ask you when you load up that thing, it's like, look, there's new DLC updated. Do you want to be reverted to right before you did this?
Oh wow, that's cool.
All right, well, okay. So I saw some stuff in the chat. Shout out to everybody's idol Goro. I like that name, by the way. He said it's a pretty short RPG by RPG standards.
Is. But what I like about they did it is they condensed it. They made what did there. They made it count. Now there's a lot of things that can improve on there. Clearly, it was a very budgeted RPG, but what you can see there is they made something like Fallout in a different way, and it worked. It's just now they need that bigger budget to make it bigger.
I only have one complaint about Outer Worlds, and it's just one, and it's not huge, but it's the fact that the world is kind of small. The exploration isn't as deep as a Fallout game, and I wish it was a little bit bigger. That's all.
I'm finna download this joint after the pod. I'm finna download it right now, actually, but. Yeah,
you should stream it.
I look forward to
That's a good streaming game. You should stream.
No, I'm gonna start a Friday. I'm gonna start a Friday night. Assuming I don't fall asleep or nothing like that.
Everyone,
Friday night,
jump in, hustle, stream Friday. See who he picks, man. See what he does. See what's going on there. Well, I appreciate everyone for coming through here, man. We'll see you next week. I'm gonna look into a couple guests next week. We're getting closer and closer to the E3 stuff. I do plan on doing E3 shows. ILP's doing E3 shows too. We'll probably go in the reverse order that we go on ILP, just so people ain't really, repeating information. And I'm gonna make sure that whoever I bring on for the Addict show, like prediction stuff, isn't going to be on the ILP prediction stuff. So I appreciate everyone for coming through here. We're gonna go ahead and end the